Hello folks, I'm so glad you're joining me today. Oh, it's so beautiful here today. Oh, looking out that window and seeing, we still have a little bit of snow on those mountains and I love seeing that. But we have a bit of a cloudy sky today, so we've got the windows open and it's so cool. I have to tell you, I am so excited for what I'm going to show you today. I love doing landscapes, and I have this one that is, what I did is I took two photos. They're two photos, they're 4x6s, and as you'll see, I just taped them together on the back here so that I could see both of them here, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to change it a bit. I want this beautiful sky with the clouds and all of that and those mountains and this little bit of water, but I don't like the way those trees are. So I've got to have an eye stopper on each side. So I'm going to move that tree over to the right, and then I'm going to put this green tree over here. I want to do just a little bit different than what it is. So this tree, it's a beautiful fall aspen tree, but I'm going to put it over here. And then this green tree that is so beautiful, I don't know for sure what kind of a tree. It's starting to change colors, but it still has a lot of green. And there's some greens back here that haven't changed. So it's kind of neat to have the changing of colors. And then it's got this, oh, I can't think what that weed is there in the front. So I want to do some of that, but I want to do some of these grasses. So I just had to show you this. I'm not going to do this lake here. The lake is there, but I'm just going to do it here kind of in the middle. And I love doing skies and I love doing those clouds. So I want to show you, we're going to do that sky and those clouds first, and then we'll have to come back to it. Now I got to tell you something. Whenever you're doing your skies and you're doing the blue, and if you try to put a yellow tree over that, well, it's going to turn green, because yellow and blue makes green. So where I'm going to put this yellow tree over here, I'm going to very, 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 very lightly put blue over there. It's not going to have much blue over there because I can always come in a little bit with it. But I can over here, I can do dark, dark blue. So I'm going to have to change that a little bit the way the sky is. But oh, I think it'll be lovely. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy doing it. So I'm going to set it up here so I can see it while I'm painting. It's just a good thing to have, to look at the thing, what you're doing. It's just like if I could be outside, I'd be painting it, but I would kind of have to change it. So when I first start, when I first start doing a sky, we got to make it clear water. I'm going to soak it heavy with my big brush. And I'm going to come only down to where the mountains are, because you don't, see, if you only come to where the mountains are, then your paint isn't going to run. It'll stop when it comes to those mountains. And I don't want that paint going into the mountains. So I'm going to see how I can pull my brush. These silver black velvet brushes are so awesome. And today I'm doing this on 140-pound Arches paper, and it's the one that's not so rough, but it's not the smooth. Now see, there are a couple little hairs in there, and I don't want those on there. So I'm going to take those off. But if they don't come off good, I'll wait till my paint is totally dry, and then I'll take them off. Because if you try to get a fuzzy thing off of your paper when it's wet, you'll make a spot. And so it's better just to wait till it dries. Now look, if you can see, I hope you can see how shiny that is, because it is sloppy wet. Okay, so I have some cerulean blue, gonna fill my brush good with cerulean blue, and I'm gonna start up here at the top and just let that flow. Look how it flows. It's awesome. Now it wouldn't do that, see, if I hadn't wet that really good. So it's really important to wet it, okay? Now, I'm going to bring it down, but I don't want this to be so blue over here, so you know what, I'm going to blot it. I'm not going to let that. I can always come back in with this blue and just make little touches around my yellow tree, my aspen tree that's going to come. Okay, here we go. Now, you know, whenever the cloud, whenever the sky comes lower to the mountains, it's always lighter right at the horizon. Your color is always lighter. Now what I'm going to do, because I want some dark color, I'm going to bring in some, bring in some cobalt blue, really strong here at the top. And I'll show you why I am, because I want it to run. Okay, now I'm going to pick it up. You watch that run. Oh, I love how it runs. And see, then I can go in there and we can make clouds. But right now, I want it to run. So I'm just gonna tip my board, just different kinds of ways. And these clouds, oh my, the clouds in this, they are so beautiful. They are so beautiful. So what I'm doing, now that this has run some, I'm gonna take my Kleenex and just wad it up, okay, just like that. And I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna have to change this a little bit because I need to have this really good for that aspen tree that I'm gonna put over here. Okay, so I'm blotting that, but then I'm gonna take another piece and I'm gonna go, I really wanna make this a strong cloud. And I can come back in and I can change that a little bit. But while it's really wet, it's so good to take those clouds out. So good. See, look how that does. Is that awesome? But you gotta have it wet. You really gotta have it wet. I'm gonna come up there and come clear up into the top part. And I wanna leave that dark up there. You know, it's really something when you look at these clouds out here. When this has dried some, I will come back in because underneath the clouds, there is a strong gray blue. It's almost gray, but it has a touch of blue, so it's my elephant gray. But I'm gonna wait till this dries and then we'll come back in with it. So we'll start the rest of the painting. Oh my, that's gonna be beautiful. You know, the clouds change so fast. I don't know if you were like I was, but as a little girl, I used to like to lay down in the grass and look at those clouds and imagine whether that was a dog or it was a cat or whatever. Oh, I did like the clouds, watching the clouds, and I had never dreamed I was going to be painting clouds so much and loving painting clouds. So we will make some more changes on this as we go, but for right now, let's leave the clouds. And now, before I work on those mountains, I've got to make sure all that's dry. So I'm going to work down here, and then we'll come back up to that when it's dry, and I'll re-show you, and I know you remember that when we are waiting to see if it's dry, we feel it to see if it's cool to the touch. But I got that so wet, it's going to take a little bit of time for that to dry. So I'm going to let that dry, and I want to keep it level now that it's kind of, I like how it is. You know, one thing I'm going to do, and I can see it right now, maybe I can do that right now. I'm going to try that. I'm going to do that right now. And you know what? Doesn't hurt to try it. I'm going to go in here in my ultramarine blue, and I'm using it from my palette. I'm going to turn my brush around. I'm going to show you something. Because I want, yeah, there we go. Okay, now see what I'm doing is I'm just adding some dark up here. Now I'm going to take my other brush, I'm going to take my number 8 brush, and with just water, and I'm going to pull it. See how I'm just going to pull the water out of there with my finger, just a tiny bit, and I'm only going to smooth it at the edges. I'm going to leave that still bright up at the top. Okay? Okay, now I want to do the same thing down over here. Watch me do this over here. And the reason, oh my, look at that. That's darker than darker. But you know what? I think it's all right because it's wet. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this brush, pull the water out just a little bit, and I'm just going to pull this. You know, whenever you put the dark against the light, look how it's going to make those clouds show. And if you look at the sky, it is crazy. And I don't know where you are, if it's like that, but in Colorado, our skies can be so cobalt blue. It's just, it's hard to imagine that they are that bright. Now when I see how it is, I'm gonna come, and I'm probably gonna want to do that, but I'm gonna wait till that tree's over there. So now see these edges? I'm gonna come in here. See how I pulled my finger again? Pulled my finger with just get some of that water out of there. Okay, I'm gonna very carefully smooth those edges so that it's not a sharp line. See how it is? See how it's softening that? I'm going to bring that down here just a little bit. That, oh boy, that's going to make beautiful clouds. Oh my, I like it. Oh, can you see those clouds? They're something else, aren't they? Okay. Now see, I get so excited about those clouds. I don't like to give up those clouds, but we're going to. I'll go down, or else you're never going to see me paint all day because I just work on clouds all day. I really do like that. Oh, wow. I'm going to use this just a little bit. Just, yeah, right there. Okay, that's enough. Okay, here we go with the number 8 brush. And what we're going to do is we're going to come clear down here where this lake is, because see, we've got that blue. And you know, if you look at the lake when you're painting, particularly when you see this outside, it's so exciting to see this. You will find that the sky is reflected in the lake. It is incredible how much the sky is reflected in the lake. So you really want to try to get that color. So the lake color at the back will always be darker, okay? So I'm going to put this color in here. I'm going to put the color right here. Now remember that your water always goes flat, so don't do it uphill. Now if you're doing a waterfall, that's different. But here, this is a part of the lake. Okay, so now I've put that in there. So now I'm going to take my brush quickly. While it is wet, quickly, I'm going to just pull it like that. Just pull it, and we'll leave it dark just at the top. And that's all. Is that neat? That's all that little lake shows back there. It is clear over here, but there's a whole bunch of bushes and everything else around it. So that's all it shows. Oh, is that neat? Oh, I like it. Okay, now because, oh my paint, that paper is still wet. Okay, I'm gonna come down here. That would be some of these foreground mountains. And you know, when I do the elephant gray, remember we do cobalt blue and we do new gamboge. And I put some new gamboge out. So, that's not right. That's my trees. Well, I'm going to leave that because we will use some of that. Oh my, that's a nice green. Okay, no, when we do elephant gray, it's cobalt blue. Here we go, cobalt blue, and it's orange. It's orange for our elephant gray. So here we go. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I want that a little bit bluer. Oh my, I got it bluer than I needed. It's amazing. You know, these colors are, they're good pigments, so it's good strong colors. Oh, there we go. Now that's a little bit more the right color. It's still the blue, but it's just, now I'm going to add a bunch of water to that because we need to thin that down a little bit, and we can always blot it if we need to, but I think that's good for those background mountains. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna do some of these. Now, usually, see how I'm just using my brush just carefully, and you know what? You'll see if you have watched some of my videos how much I do dry brush stuff. See, I'm gonna let part of that paper show through. It's all right. Let part of your paper show. It's all right to have that. Just, it doesn't have to be solid in there. So just go across there, and then as you see, as those little mountains in the foregrounds come closer, they're a little bit darker. See, they're just a little bit darker. So these up that are up further, I'm gonna have to make those a little bit lighter in the background. I'm gonna put a little bit more water with that, and I'm gonna come right up here. Now, you know what? I'm not gonna go an awful lot in there because I'll have to come back on that because I wanna do this tree. Oh, I think that's about all I wanna do there. Maybe I could put it over here just at this edge a little bit. But I'm gonna see if that's, you know what? I'm gonna take my Kleenex and I'm just gonna blot that just a little bit here so I can get in there because I wanna paint that top mountain and my paper is so wet. I got a good job of getting my paper wet. I did do that. Okay, I'm gonna do a tiny line in there. That's all I'm gonna do. And I think what we'll do now is we will come down here in this. See, when you look at these, it's kind of amazing. When you look at these, see how those trees are? Part of them are green and part of those would probably be aspen trees and part of them would probably be some pine trees in there. And so it's a variety of both green and gold. So I think what I will do first is do the gold because I can always do the green over the top. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna simply do some new gamboge. That's awesome color. I'm gonna put just a touch of the blue with that. Not hardly any, just to dull it down a little bit because we may want to put some more gold with it. But wow, I can't believe these gold trees. Well, I'm thinking maybe I just flat need the new gamboge because yep. And see, look at there's a fuzz in there. I don't like those fuzz things, and sometimes that happens. So okay, we can always come back in with, so I'm just gonna squish this around. Look, you don't even have, sometimes, you know, sometimes we try to be so careful that we kind of defeat the looks of it just being so flowing. So I'm gonna do this because we can always bring those greens around that. And you know, I gotta tell you, when I started doing these videos, my purpose, I wanted to leave stuff for my grandkids of remembering how Grandma painted and all of that stuff. Well, you know what? Sometimes I kind of have little things to kind of put in there for my grandkids, and you guys just get to listen. So maybe, because I was thinking this morning, I'll tell you what I was thinking this morning. I don't know, I think artist people think different. And you probably think, oh, that crazy grandma, what is the matter? Well, anyway. But I was thinking today, I'm painting in transparent colors. And you know, I'm putting this yellow, and I'm gonna put some orange over it, and I will have some browns, I will have different colors, but right now I'm just putting this new gamboge, this yellow under here. And you know what? As I put other colors around it, it's gonna be so striking. Oh, see, look, I've got to show you while I'm doing this. This is my quinacridone gold. And then I'm gonna put some of this quinacridone gold because I like to do it while it's wet, because it's just like with the sky. See, when I do that, see how it flows? Because it's still damp there. That isn't quite as damp, so I'm gonna add some water so we can get it. You know, the fall colors are incredible, and I have never been privileged to see them in the East. So if some of you people live in the East, then I know you would tell me all kinds of stuff about your wonderful fall colors. And I haven't seen them. I've just seen them, you know, stuff we see on TV or in videos or something. So I know they're beautiful. I know they are. And so the thing about the transparent colors is you have other stuff underneath, and it's so beautiful to let those other things show through, because all of us are different, and it's all right to let it show through of who you are underneath. Sometimes we hide that. And you know, some people like to paint with I'm going to use a touch of orange. I'm going to put some orange in here right now because it's so good, because this is wet. See how it's just all blending together? And then we can come in with the dark green, and it'll make it awesome. But see, you know, we can have transparency, and I know privacy. Yes, there's privacy, and I wouldn't discount that at all. I wouldn't at all. But you know, sometimes some people paint in what's called opaque watercolors, and those are so that they're so solid that you can't see anything underneath. Now see, if I make a mess on this and I think, oh my cow, that is terrible, I can go to my opaque colors and I can come in here and I can do some changing. But if I possibly can, I want to try to use just transparent colors, because if you look at this, you can see the yellow underneath, you can see a touch of the orange, you can see a touch of that quinacridone gold. Is that awesome to see all those colors? So you know what? It's all right to show what your colors are to your family and maybe those closest to you, because sometimes, you know, if we use just opaque stuff and we just hide it, it can kind of make us not feel good about life, and maybe not good for other people. Look at those colors blending together, but you can see those other colors underneath. It's all right to be who you are, and maybe this even helps you to recognize who somebody else is and what their skills are, and you think, boy, I never saw that in them at all. Well, look under their transparent colors and see they may have awesome things inside that, oh, you never dreamed. Now see, look, I've got a little bit of this yellow on my brush, and I'm going to bring this just a little bit into this lake. But as soon as I've done it, look, I'm going to take this because I don't want it to be too dark. Now, is that a beautiful skyline back there, or what do you call it? It's just the edge of the lake. It's just the edge, and it makes you have the depth of it. You know what? I think I can paint those mountains now. Oh my, let's paint the mountains, and then we'll come back to these. I'm loving these colors. Now, you know, if you watch some of my other landscapes, you will see that I did some of the trees and stuff with a little sponge thing. Well, I can do that, but today I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to simply do it all with my brush. But I love the fall. I love reason I really like the colors of the blue and the yellow. I like that in my house. That's colors that I like. So I'm going to paint those mountains. Now, you know, those mountains in the distance, those distant ones, they are really very, very, very gray. So I'm going to fix a little different color for elephant gray, and see, I've got a little bit more color in there than I would like. Let's see if I can. I think I can change that. If we can't, we will start all. Nah, that's a good color right there. That's going to be good. I think that'll say mountains. Let's see if it says mountains, and if it doesn't, we'll change it. Okay, I'm going to use my number 8 brush because I can just use the tip of this thing and go like so. And this is if you watched me do my one that I did outside, this is so different from this because we had snow up there, and on this particular painting there's not much snow at all. So I'm going to do this, but I'm going to come up here and I'm going to blot it right away. Right away I'm going to blot it because I don't, and I'm just going to let it be kind of speckled. What my Kleenex did. Not bothered by it at all. Now I'm going to come to this little right mountain. And if you look, it's a little bit taller than this. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go back here, and then we will, and I'm just going to kind of dry brush this. I'm not going to make it totally covered. Okay, and now I'm going to blot it. I'm going to bring it right down to those other things and I'm blot those right away. Yeah, blot them right away, because those are in the distance. So it just, you know, almost all of these mountains, they're going to have kind of rocks and ledges and all that stuff. Now this, then when it comes over here, then it gets a little bit darker. So I'm going to leave that a little bit darker, and I'm going to bring it right down on top of this, and it won't matter at all. And we're going to have that. Okay, but I am going to blot it a little bit because that's still darker than what I want. Sometimes it's just by experimenting, you just kind of think, well, let's see, let's try it, let's see what it looks like. Now that one, the shadowing somehow is different over here on this side. So I'm going to add this, I'm going to add some more blue to that. I want that a little bit bluer over here on the other side. Yeah, and we can still blot it, but, and I won't bother at all about it coming down on my next line, because I'll show you what I'm going to do. Now that I'm this far, I'm going to take some water and I'm just going to blend it right down into that. Won't hurt at all. Okay, but I'm going to blot it. I'm going to blot it. I'm going to blot it. Just makes it so it's more watercolory if it's just not perfect. Now, this part right here in the foreground, that is kind of bluish. Again, it's a little bit darker. You know what makes so much difference of how the light is from the clouds and from the sun. And so sometimes when the sun is shining different, it just makes a little bit different color. Now when I get done with the trees and some of that, then I'll think, oh, I think that spot needs just a little bit more color. Well, then you can come back in and just add a little more color. It doesn't matter. You can do that. So I'm going to bring down here so I don't have a line right there. I don't want that line. So I'm just kind of blending it at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to have us go over here, and I think what I will do next, because I want to do the grasses up around. See, I think what I'll do first is this green tree. I think I'll do this green tree because the reason I want to do it first is I want to have all these grasses up around it. And so if I do this green tree, then I can fluff up all these grasses in the front that are around it. So that's what I'm going to do next. So to make me, and you know, when we do greens, we use our New Gamboge and the cobalt blue, and we can do different colors of green. So I'm going to do that right off the bat. I'm going to mix some different colors of green. So that's, and then I'm going to use a touch. I'm going to use a touch of the my green from the tube, but not hardly any. And I'll probably just do that on top. Oh, look at that gorgeous color. That's an awesome green. And then I have another green that I really like, just touches of it, and I'll only use touches of it the same way with this. So we'll do this tree first. And I think I'll just start with my number 8. I'll probably want to move to my other one pretty soon, but now this guy comes down here quite a bit here in the foreground. So I'm gonna, that's really kind of his trunk, and I've made him green, but that doesn't matter at all. His spots come way down. Now look how I can do that right over the top of that gold. Is that awesome? It doesn't matter at all because this is a darker color. It's still transparent colors, and it's so neat to see those colors shine through. I love it when those colors shine through. Okay, so we're gonna do this green, and then we'll add some yellow to it. And you know, I did bring up some of my pencils because I like to use my watercolor pencils with this. Now this has got some really dark spots, so I'm gonna put quite a bit of blue. I'm gonna put quite a bit of blue where these shadows are. you always remember, I said earlier, and I will repeat that many times, I'm sure, whenever you do the shadows, then that's what helps show the light. It makes a difference for the light when you show the shadows. See, look how I'm just smishing that around, not even particular about it. But now remember, if you look at any trees, whether they're the pine trees, most trees, you're going to see some light through it. Look how I'm leaving the light. Leave the light. Leave some light places underneath there. I'm not going to come clear up into the sky because I don't want to hide up all those beautiful clouds that we're going to have up there. But he's kind of a tall guy, so I'm doing that, and then we'll come in. And I want to do as much. Now, you want to do this hopefully as quickly as you can. Now look, I'm splattering right there, and I'm going to blot it right now, and see I'm able to take care of it because I saw it. I don't want that. Now, I'm not going to worry about that trunk right now because I want to come in right now, and I want to do, look, you think, oh my cow, that's too dark. No, it really isn't. It's crazy because we'll blend it with some other stuff, and it will just be, they'll think, oh, that ends up being pretty good. I like it. I like it. But I want to try to save those light holes. Part of those light holes, I want to do some bright yellow in there and see if I have those light holes. You can see that. But we need to have the good light, good light around the edges. Almost always on a tree, you're going to see the edges. So I'm going to use my other brush. I'm going to use my number 6 brush now, and I'm going to come in here, and we're going to bring, I'm going to use my clean water because I don't want to get in a mess there. And I'm going to try the gamboge. I may need to put some, I think I do. I think I need to put, yeah, I need to put some of the Harrell yellow with it. So I'm going to look at this, and while this is wet, look, see what happens when you blend that together? Is that awesome? And it's up here, up at the edges, and I want to just make it fluffy at the edges because that's how that tree would be. Oh my, I sure would like to have painted this thing out there right in the open air if I could have, but that wasn't possible, so we're going to paint it this way. So I'm going to fill in a few of those little holes, but not a lot. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here. I'm trying to see where I see more of that yellow. It's I can see that I've got to put some quinacridone gold in there because it's not just this yellow. It's crazy how it's it's kind of a fluffy little tree. I don't know what that tree is. I sure would like to know what kind of tree that is, because that sure is a pretty tree, and it's got quite a few trunks to it. It's really got a lot of trunks. I'm going to put a touch of quinacridone gold in there while that's wet. Oh yeah, there, see, I'm adding that to that yellow. That's just kind of, it's just kind of good to blend with that yellow, because if you look at the trees, when they start to change, they have a variety of golds in them. Well, I know you guys do back in the East. Yours is so different than what ours is. Now you can see that these transparent colors are shining through here at the bottom almost always, whether it's a bush or an aspen tree or a pine tree, almost always it's darker at the bottom. What I'm probably going to have to do with this is after it's dry, I'm going to have to come in here and do some more dark. But I kind of like that little tree. Now that's, I need to make him a trunk. And he's got several trunks, and they are, they're brown, but you know what? Because I think I want to put some cobalt blue with it. Oh, that's perfect. See now, that's my, my brown, and then the cobalt blue with it. That, mixing those two together gives me a good trunk color. So, oh wow, look at that. Is that going to be good or what? So it's kind of a main trunk, but I'm going to put lots of weeds and stuff around him so he'll, And I may have to come in with this because this is so wet. I don't know, see, it's going to blend too much. I'm going to have to come back in here with these trunks later. But I'm going to kind of put them in here for where I want them, and then we can come back in and make them darker later. But I kind of want to, oh, it's kind of like doing a pattern. If you're sewing something, you want to decide where you're going. So I'm going to kind of do that for now, just to have it kind of started up here, and then we'll come back and do some trunk things. Ah, I like him. Okay, I think because I've done this tree, I think that's enough for right now. So as it starts to dry, I'm gonna come in over here and we're gonna do this aspen tree. Oh my, oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so to do this, I'm just gonna use this on the part of the stuff that's on my palette, but I'm just gonna do some, and I'm gonna have me a Kleenex, because then if I need to blot it, I can. So when I use this time, I've rolled the paint really good in my brush, really rolled it good, and I'm gonna come up here, and this guy's gonna be taller than this other guy, and I'm just gonna flick him around, flick this around, because the way I see this, there is a lot of air holes around this thing. I mean, it's crazy how he's not real solid at the top. He's just really, so see, I'll do the base of him, and it'll be my transparent colors, and then we can come back in and we can do some other colors over it. And I'm kind of just using the edge and the tip of my brush and just making little squigglies, just kind of looking at how those little those leaves go on that. Well, it looks kind of messy, doesn't it? But I think it'll be fine when we get done. We're just gonna make that tree up there, standing looking at those Colorado mountains. It's showing all of its beautiful color. So I'm going to bring him down here. Oh wow. And I think, now see, as he comes down here, it's crazy. He's got lots of orange. Oh my word, I can't believe how he's changed. He's changed so much. He's getting, oh my, I'm going to put it right there while it's wet. It's crazy, he's orange. There isn't near as much yellow. Those yellows are just kind of at the top. That's crazy, but that's how it is. So if that's what it, hey, you know what I say? If you can see it, you can paint it. Oh, aren't you thankful for your eyes so you can see it? Wow. Well, if you can see that color, then that's the color you paint it. You think, well, why is it that color? Well, I don't know why it's that color. Now you'll see that you're seeing those mountains right through the edge. You can see part of those mountains, and see, so that's your transparent colors. If you did those mountains and they were in opaque, and then you tried to do this, then you need to do opaque over the top of it. But this is, it's just going to show it's going to show the mountains right through there. Is that crazy? That's how it is. So it's interesting when you start looking at things, you see things different when you really study. Now, where's the shadow? Where's the light? I can see that. Where is that going? So I think because this is wet, I still want to get some more other color in there. I'm going to see if I can, that might be too yellow. That's just a Harrell, and I think that's too yellow to do it all. Well, maybe just a touch of it is all right. Just a touch of it is all right. It's just a highlight thing. I'm just going to kind of bring it around the edge. I'm not going to bring it much. Oh my. Well, if you could see our aspen trees, you would love it. Now, this is that mountain behind there is just showing a little bit more than I would like. I shouldn't have painted that quite so dark. It would have been good if I didn't. So now what I'm going to do, when that dries, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll come back in some more of that orange, because it's crazy how much of that orange is down there. There really is a lot of that. So I'm going to come down here And this, no, that still isn't dry. Oh my, I get it on my fingers. That tells me it's not dry. Okay, so now we're gonna work on all of these weeds down here. Oh, you know what? It's fun to do weeds. I think what I will do is I will start them with this. I'm gonna use 2 brushes. I'm gonna use 2 brushes, but I'm gonna use my number 8 and then I'm gonna use my number 2. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start down here and we're gonna do a base color again, okay? We're gonna do this and it'll just kind of wet this up so I can get a whole bunch of colors on here. It's just good. I could have even used my bigger brush, but I'm only gonna be able to work in a small space at a time because the paper dries so fast. You know, one of the things that's funny about watercolor paper, now if you're working outside, your paper will dry faster. So that's something to consider. Well, today, because it's so nice outside, I have all the windows open. So now we're having quite a bit of, and see, I'm splattering right up there, but I'm gonna catch it right away and it's all right. Won't hurt a thing. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here with a variety of colors and we're just gonna mix this thing up and, wow, you know something? Huh? It's kind of amazing when you look at all the colors. And so see, I'm just going to kind of blend that like that. Now see this, another thing I didn't put out for today, and I could have used that here, is those watercolor sticks. Remember when, if you've seen me use the watercolor sticks, I'm just going to lighten that just a little bit. That would be real good to do dry brush here with the watercolor sticks and then just pull it. But I didn't do that today, so we'll just do it with just our brushes. Because you may not have the watercolor sticks, so if you don't have that, I want to show you what you can do with what you've got. Okay? Now look, I used some cobalt blue in there. I'm going to do that because I want this bank back here to show. I want this to show. And then I'm going to take my little brush and I'm just going to blend it a little bit. But I'm going to kind of just leave it loose. It just looks watercolory. That's just fine. We're going to come back up in those trees in a little bit, but I'll just do just a little bit more of a line there, and I think that's enough. I think that's enough right now. So I'm going to come over here. Let's do this side. But this side, I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to do some of this brown in here, like that. And I'm going to do this around this tree. I'm going to wet it really, really good. And I'm not even going to worry about coming right over that trunk. I'm going to come over here and make this dark here. And I'll come in with a touch of the cobalt blue, just like I did over here, because then it shows the bank. You know, it's just good to show the bank for where it is. See that little line? Okay, it's all right to have that. I'm going to show this right here. And then I'm going to take my other brush and I'm just going to pull it. I'm not going to go clear the top. I'm just going to go to the bottom and I'm just going to pull it. And and we'll come back in here with some more grasses and stuff that'll shine up over there. You know what? This will be a fun place to use our colored pencils, because we can put those right over the top of that. Okay? Yeah, I like that. See how the bank would be? That's how it would be. Oh my. Oh, it's neat to see. Oh, wow. I do love it. I love it being so beautiful. Now see, I'm going to come in here and I'm not even going to worry about going over these other colors because they'll just all blend together. Is that fun or what? Oh, wow. Okay, I think I'm going to come in here with some gold. When you start looking, if you're outside and I would like you to just take a little piece of paper with you if you aren't painting, and you write down all the colors you can see. Say in the grass, write down all the colors you can see on the bark of a tree. You would be amazed at all the colors you can see. And sometimes we just kind of pass that. We don't realize there is so much there that we're not seeing. So I'm going to come like this, and I'm going to bring this a little bit brighter, right in the foreground, right here. And then I'm going to get my watercolor pencils, and we're going to do some stuff right in the foreground. I'm going to wet this more because it is no sense in having a line, and I can bring some other, you know what I want, you know how I am. I like to have the corners dark. So I'm going to make those up whether they are in my photo or not. So here I put brown and I put blue, okay? And then I'm going to take my other brush and I'm just going to pull it at the top. I'm pulling part of the water out and I'm just going to pull it at the top because I want to leave that right there. But I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side while I've got it on my brush. I'm going to put some blue in there, okay? I need some more cobalt blue right here. Okay, so it's kind of slanted, but it's going to give me good dark colors. You want good corners. It's good to have dark corners. It just draws you into the painting more. Okay, now while I've got this on my brush, I want to come back up here with his trunk. I want to do a little, I want to be careful I don't get my arm in it because I'll smudge it up. So I'm going to just put a little bit more stuff in this up here. I want to do this just a little bit. Oh, there, that's my good trunk color. Okay. Oh yeah. See, so I'm not going to be exact. Leave some of that, but I'm just going to kind of touch it up so that it does look. Oh yeah, there's trunks up there. Yeah, that's about all I need. Okay. Now, what I want is I want to sharpen up underneath this. You know, you've got to think when something sits, you don't want it floating, okay? So I'm going to put some green under here. Now see, because I've got all these other colors, I can put that green right over the top of it, and it doesn't matter at all. I don't want that thing floating. I don't want that tree floating. And then, oh my, we need some trunk over here. We need some trunk in this aspen trees, but it's very fine. So I think I need to use, oh, you know, you can always hold on to more one brush at a time. Did you know you can? Well, try it. You'll find out you can. I'm going to put a trunk in this, and I'm just going to, I'm not going to be real, not a lot of detail, but because now really, you know, your aspen trees, they really do have, and why that looks so brown, I don't know. Maybe that's not an aspen tree, but I thought it was an aspen tree, because they're usually more of a gray blue, but for some reason that looks pretty, I'm going to come in here with some blue with it to see if I can make that kind of a grayer blue, and I don't know, I may have to come back with something later to do that a little bit more detailed. But you know, the aspen tree trunks usually are pretty gray blue, but for some reason in this photo that thing doesn't even look, it doesn't even look like it's that color. Now I want to come back in here with some more yellow because I want to see if I don't know if that's dry enough. I'll try it. You can always try it. If it doesn't work, we'll try it later. I'm gonna try that. And very often, and you've heard me say this, very often when you go back to brighten up something or darken it, you'll use the same colors again that you used before. You just simply go over the top, and it just helps to darken it up. Okay, well, I kind of like what's happened here with all of this. I'm going to soften that edge right there just a little bit and bring out some of this. I'm going to get my watercolor pencils. We got to do something with watercolor pencils. How can we do a painting without watercolor pencils? They are so fun to do, and they just add a neat touch. And I wanted to show you on the sky because we're going to want to do some of that. I'm going to see if I can, I want to soften this trunk. Oh yeah, see, I can. See, look what I did. I used this pencil, and it's wet, and see how it went into there, and it softened that trunk. It's not quite so sharp. I like that. It's all right up in the tree, but that's good. Okay, so let's take some of these colors and let's go up into this aspen tree. And well, maybe before we do that, we'll do some grasses. Now here, just watch what I'm doing. I'm wetting my pencil, okay? And I'm just going squiggly, squiggly. Some of them dark, some of them wide. Look at that. Now, doesn't that say grass? Of course it says fall grass. That's the kind of grass it is. When everything starts to change, oh my, we've got all kinds of colors. Now let's see if we can put some orange in with that. So I wet my thing, and I'm not going to put as much orange. The main thing is going to be but it gives some of that color. It's nice to have that in my corner. I want to do the same thing over here. Let me do the same thing over here, and then we'll come back. So I'm wetting it again. Now, one thing you got to remember with your watercolor pencils, they really do run out of water awful fast. So you'll have to wet them repeatedly when you're using them. So you can see that I'm sometimes using it straight up, sometimes I'm using it sideways, and I'm just squishing all around. You don't have to be exact. And so now I'm going to take a little bit of this orange, and we're going to go in here with some orange, just now very little, because see, now I did that brighter than what I want, so I'm going to blot that. I'm going to blot that a little bit. Now, one of the things I'm going to put some yellow in there, and I think just some of this yellow can, oh yeah, there we go. Huh? And I want to put some around that tree. I want grasses up around that tree. Oh my, now we're doing it. Now it's more what, yeah, yep. So see, it's good to use several different colors. I'm going to come down here. We need more of a dark base down there, and I can see that. So we'll use some browns down there. But let's come over here with some of this gold, because that just helps. That just helps. And then I think in here, I'll just use my brush, and you know what? While I've got this, I'm going to come back here just for a little idea of how the grasses must be up around here, around the very edge of the lake. Is that neat or what? Oh, I want to come back here. I'm going to dip that right in my paint. I'm gonna come in here, put those down just a minute. I've got to use this little brush. I've just got to use this just a little bit. I'm gonna just put some of this just squiggly up there. Oh my, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of liking this painting. And you know, I have to tell you, oh, I do have a habit of doing that. I'll sit this painting up, and by the time you would see it a week later, you'd think, well, she must have done something to that painting. Because that's what I do. When I see it, then I see things I wished, oh, that's what I need to do that. That would help that to be such and such. So that's kind of what I do. So I'm adding just a little bit of stuff here. Now, because that tree is it's got a bunch of grasses and bushes or something up above it. And you know what? I also see, let me see what I see. You know, I'm seeing that I need to put some green around the bottom of this thing. Yeah. Wow. Is it crazy? Now that's some of the stuff that I'm probably going to see when I'm trying to fix stuff and think, Virla, you should have done such and such. So today, that's kind of what you're seeing me do part of the time. I think I'm getting to the place that I'm feeling a little bit. I think that's too small of a brush. I'm going to use a big brush because I want, you know what? I want some dry brush on this. So let's see if I can do that. So I'm putting that green on there, and I'm going to hold my brush. I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to see if I can do dry brush on this. Just here. That's not enough paint. Well, maybe it is. Maybe that is going to be enough. It's just softens it. I need some right there. Now, I don't know how much that'll dry. I like dry brush. You know I like dry brush. I'm going to put some of this gold on there. Let's see if I can do some over the top of that very carefully. So I'm holding my brush flat as I can get, and barely touching the paper. That's a part of the challenge, is to barely touch the paper. See, now it's not going to go all the way. It's going to have that one light spot. I'm going to come up here. You know what I know that I need to do right now? We need to have some brighter colors in those back trees and some darker greens. I'm gonna fix us some green. Here, I'm gonna fix some, yeah, because, see, I'd forgotten back here where these fall trees are, right here, there are some strong, so I'm gonna just kind of, this is my number 6 brush. I'm gonna put some of those dark colors in there. That needs to have a little bit more cobalt blue because they're really dark. It's crazy how dark they are. Now, you know, they're always, again, darker at the bottom. So I'll have just a little bit of that. And then I'm gonna take my other brush. I'm gonna take my little tiny brush and I'm gonna pull the water out, and I'm just gonna soften the edges just a little bit, just the edges. I still want to leave that dark in there, but I'm gonna soften some of these edges just a tiny bit, so it's just not quite, because it's in the distance. It doesn't have to be exact, but you want the idea that there's still some trees back there that haven't yet lost their color and changed to the gold color. So I'm just trying to get that a little bit in the background. I'm going to do this one over here on the side just a little bit darker because it's the side. You know how I like the dark colors, but I'm going to soften the edges again. I don't like, there are times for sharp edges, but I do like the lost edges. I'm going to darken this right here just a little bit, right behind this, I can imagine that some of these right over here by the lake, that they're just pretty dark. And it kind of helps to draw your eye into it, into the middle of your painting. You always want to think, now where's my focus? Where's my focus on my painting? Well, I would say, even though these mountains are not like my snow mountains, they're still the same mountains, but they just don't show a lot of snow. I'm going to put just a little bit of dark over here. Not as much, but just a little bit. Oh, and then see, as I'm coming over here, then I see this spot over here that's kind of, I'm gonna put that up a little bit more in the tree, and I'm gonna come over here. Yeah, I'm gonna darken that because this could be some bushes over here that are kind of around that tree. Yep. Gotta do that. Yep. See, then that doesn't draw your eye out. You don't want to have a light color or a white or something out at the edges. Draws your eye out of the picture. Now, you don't want to have a bridge, so this is kind of a bridge, so you need part of that color over here. Does that make sense? But this is kind of a bridge. We pretend that's a bridge. So some of that needs to be dark over here so that it softens it. Well, I think I'm about ready to sign this painting, and I won't promise you that I won't even do a little bit more on it. I see something I've got to do right now. It's hard for me to stop. You know, that's maybe one of the challenges as an artist, is knowing when do I quit. Okay, because these are in the foreground, I want these a little bit darker. So I'm gonna bring this in a little bit more right here, but I'm still gonna wet it so it's a little bit softer. I don't want it quite that dark. So I'm gonna blot this one because it's darker than what I would like. Oh, you know what I've got to do with you? You have to see this. because I want you to see how awesome this is. I want to show you with my little white watercolor pencil. I'm going to hold this way, and I want to show you how I'm going to make the highlight on top of these clouds, and then we'll do some stuff at the bottom. Ow. And I know your lunch is probably ready to eat and you're waiting for me to quit. But I'm going to quit in a minute. I'm sorry, I just can't quit right now. So here we go. I'm trying to do this light white on top. And this is just my watercolor pencil. It's not a opaque thing. It's just a watercolor pencil. Now you can use a bleed proof white if you need to. You can. Dr. Martin has a little container, and I've shown you that before, that is bleed proof white, and it's opaque. So when you use that, you don't put anything else other paint over it. I mean, when it's on there, it's on there. I'm going to put a little bit of that white right down here. But I want to come in here with some of that blue gray at the bottom, because you'll see how it makes those. Now I want to lay this flat because I know I've got to turn it this way because I've got to do the bottom of those things. So I'm going to take, let's see, I think I'll take my number 8 brush, and I am going to mix some orange and some cobalt blue, and we're going to make a gray, and I'm going to water it down a whole bunch. I'm going to water it a whole bunch, and it's got to be pretty blue, but it still is a gray. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, hopefully that's right on my brush. I'm going to pull it just a little bit because I don't want it too dark. Okay, now there are, it's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to pull the water again, and then I'm going to pull that because I don't want it to be too much, but I don't want it. Okay, I got to blot that. It's just too dark, but not too dark, because we blotted it. We got away with it. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to do that here, and I'm going to blot it. We need to have that dark color underneath there. It just shows the clouds off more. I'm going to bring that up a little bit into that, but usually it's pretty. Oh my, when I see that cloud out the window compared to my picture, look how dark that cloud is. It's really dark. I wonder if there's some rain coming in that. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to wet that a whole bunch and blot it. Now, one of the things I want to do with you, because it's important, and lots of times when you look at the sky, then you will see right at the skyline, there will be the softest yellow that you ever saw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully, I'm going to put yellow right along the clouds, right along the mountains, just like that. And then I'm going to blot it because you want it so soft. It's just hardly there, but you know it's there. Okay? That's all. That's it. Oh my! Huh. I think I like it. You know, I see it needs more orange over here. You know what? I don't think I can quit. But I don't know. I gotta quit. Oh my, I don't like to quit. But I think it's time to quit. Whether I want to quit or not, I better pay attention, huh? Look how the colors have, for some reason that stayed over there better. Okay, now I'm going to pull the color at the top and I'm going to soften it, but then I'm going to come up here at the top with my little Kleenex and I'm going to blot that a little bit at the top. But I think that's enough. And then we will sign it. And I'm sure I will find other things to change on it, but I hope you like it. Oh my, that's a part of our fall in Colorado, and it's so beautiful when the fall comes. Well, So good to have you with me today. I would, if you'd like to see something else, look at some of my landscape things. I love doing landscapes. You know, people ask you, what's your favorite thing to do? Well, I like doing different things, but I guess it's kind of whatever I'm doing at the time. But today I'm liking doing landscapes, and I've done some fun ones. So I hope you enjoy some other landscapes.